back. It is 3 p.m. So you know what we do at 3 p.m. It is time for the Kitsap Regional Library because it is the first Tuesday of the month, which just happens to be after the 4th of July. So let us go ahead and bring on our illustrious guest, Priya Chari. Priya, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, Marwan. How are you? I love it.
You
Nice.
need that. You need that.
I would love to hear just one like angry boo in that hole. Just like make it more realistic. There we go.
No, I'm glad you're doing all right. And it's that time again. You know, we only meet once a month, but it goes so fast. It's like,
I
man, I
know.
just Priya was just on talking about, kicking off the summer and all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you something that was really sad for me though. So I go in, I bring you the sword in the magazine, right?
Yes.
And we definitely need to talk about it because we talked about that on a show a few months ago when I talked about bringing it in. It took me like a month and a half to bring it in. So,
That's okay.
that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, Lisa, hears my voice. So she's like, hey, Marwan, you got a second? So we go in and sit down. And I'm like, yeah, podcasts are awesome. I tried to get her on. She's like, they ain't happening. Priya's awesome. That's enough. I ain't doing it. So I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, well, Priya talks about all this wonderful stuff at the library. And it just so happened, in the next day or two, those 5 planets were going to align. So I wanted to get a telescope. And so she was like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to do that. It's just like, I'll pull it up. She's like, but I think there's like 70 people on the wait list. I'm like, 70 people on the wait list for the telescope? Like, seriously? And it was like, yeah. So there was a bunch of people that know about the telescope. So I thought that was fantastic. That was so awesome.
Yeah, it is so cool that people know about what we have, and we try to keep up with demand, especially for really valuable and kind of rarer items in our collection, like the telescopes. But yeah, there's a bit of a wait list for that. I'm sorry.
And I think she was saying there's like 6 telescopes. Does that sound right?
We have at least a handful of them. I don't know off the top of my head, but because we have to try to fit demand from all 9 branches in
Mhm.
our system. So, we want to be able to have at least a few out at the same time and then have some available in case anything needs to come back for repair. But they are, I don't know exactly how much they cost, but they're valuable. So we want to make sure that they're all in working order, and accordingly, there's a bit of a wait list.
So FYI, you might want to put stuff on reserve because the library apparently is more popping than you know. So other folks know about the library and the cool stuff, and they're actually putting their name down to reserve things. So don't procrastinate and wait to the last minute like I did. That was an eye opener. I'm like 70 people. Oh, like, oh, whoa! But that was so cool, Even though I
Yeah.
didn't get to watch it, I was like, all right, I'll just Google it and it'll be fine.
Well, the tricky thing is also where we live, it is unpredictably cloudy some of the time. So we've had people who've waited their nice long wait lists, gotten the telescope and like, yes, let's go, summer evening, let's like watch the stars, and it just ends up being cloudy for like the whole week that they have it, and we can't really help that. That's just weather. So you got to make it work, but it's really, really cool that people are interested and excited and, willing to wait a little bit. And hopefully we'll be inspired, like seeing like how a telescope works, all the pieces that go into it. Maybe they want to look more into what is like space photography look like, what's out there, weather patterns, things like that. So just a way to get the ball rolling. Yeah.
So, the last question on this particular topic, do you can you help folks like give them recommended spots that maybe other library patrons have said, hey, this is the spot to go with the telescope to get a good.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know that we've like crowdsourced a list of spots intentionally, but I bet you if you go into your local branch and you ask your library staff, hey, like what have other patrons said about their experience with the telescopes, they might have some recommendations. And plus, most of our library staff live in Kitsap County also, so we might just have
know all that.
recommended spots. But that's a really good idea. I'm going to put it out there and see if it sticks, just to like crowdsource a list of good stargazing spots. I suspect there might be some out there just online from, people in Kitsap, or maybe like OC might have some astronomy students. You never know. Something to
Yeah,
look into. Yeah.
for sure. So what's good in the neighborhood?
Yeah, so we are still in the thick of our summer learning program. I shared a little bit about it last month, and it runs from June 1st through August 31st. I love that you're sharing these relevant program numbers on the screen also, Marwan. This is like good stuff to know. Yeah, so our program runs through the end of August. We're hoping to just encourage people of all ages to read, to learn, to try something new this summer. You do not need a library card to participate, although we recommend you get one because it's just cool to have your library card. It's just a cool thing. And anyone of any ages can get a library card. If you've never had one before, if you're a kiddo, as long as you've got an adult or a guardian with you, you can sign up for a card as well. To really quickly summarize again, I know I rambled all the exciting stuff at you last month. There's a few ways to participate. And so we have our little booklets at every branch. There we are, reversed. We've got our summer learning booklets at all library locations. It's also available on our website. I think it's krl.org/summer. But basically, you can do the reading challenge, which is 3 levels of reading. Just read at least 10 hours from June 1st to August 31st. And you can get a free book or a journal. And that's all ages as well. If you read at least 50 hours, you get a really cool holographic sticker. And then if you read 100 hours, you can get our 100-hour reader finisher shirt, which matches the shirt's modeled by our lovely library director, Jason's family on the cover here. So you can be super styling and rep good messages in your community that nothing beats reading. You do not have to like beets as a vegetable to wear the shirt. I've gotten a lot of comments from people who are like, not my favorite vegetable. And that's okay. Although I can, I can recommend some good recipes. I love beets. Okay, so there's the reading portion of that, and that you can track with the paper tracker, which is in our little booklet here. Where are we? There we go. It's also available on this app called Beanstack that we use. So if you're more of a phone user or want to just cut down on the amount of paper you have in your living space, you can track your reading that way. Again, you don't need a library card to participate. Just track your reading, and then anytime during the month of August, come visit us and say, hey, I finished my reading, woohoo, and we'll get you your prize. And all of that information is linked from our website, and I just want to make sure I'm giving you the right link here. Yep, krl.org/summer. And then there are 2 other ways to participate, also in this booklet here. If you are like, I've done my reading, no more reading, I've read all the hours I can read, or if you're just really, really, really busy and you don't feel like tracking your hours, that's okay too. We just want you to learn something new this summer and tell us how it went. We don't necessarily care what it is, something that you are proud of learning and want to spend some time on. I had someone tell me that they wanted to learn how to properly take care of their houseplants because they have a whole bunch of them and the houseplants are not cooperating. And I'm like, I feel you. Okay. This is a good thing to take a stab at this summer. So in our little booklet, we have the Learn More challenge. Basically, fill out this little activity sheet here. Just tell us what are some ideas of things you want to learn. Once you pick an idea, tell us the steps you took to learn it or accomplish your goal, whatever that is. And then on the back, just tell us how the overall experience went. Give us a little bit of contact info so you know how to get in touch with you. And return this one sheet to your local branch by the end of August, and we'll do a drawing. For every branch, there are 3 prize packs. One is called Grow. Yeah, so every branch. So pick your local branch, and if you live near a smaller one, you probably have better odds. So I'll leave that there. So you can enter to win the Grow Green pack, which has an indoor hydroponic garden and a mushroom log. They really don't take up very much footprint. You could put it on your windowsill or your kitchen table or something. There's the Shop Local pack, which has a $100 gift certificate to your local bookstore, nursery, or garden store. Or $100. Yeah, you can get a lot of books with that.
Mm-hmm.
Or a lot of, garden starting supplies. And then there's the Gamer on the Go kit, which has a Nintendo Switch Lite and a game to go with it. So that is a way that you can enter to win these drawings, learn something new, tell us how it went. The last activity is just a bonus bingo challenge, also in this booklet. And if you complete this bingo, 5 across, diagonal, what have you, return it to your local library branch, and that's an additional entry into that prize drawing. So just get it all into us by the end of August, preferably a little bit sooner. And I will say, if you're nervous about having inventory for prizes, like you don't want all the good books to go, maybe come in a little earlier in the month if you can. But we are just super excited to get people involved with learning and reading and doing, and hopefully getting a little bit dirty as well, because our theme for this year is farming and gardening. So that is this. Yes. Go ahead.
Tell me, this is my poor little plant behind me, and it needs some help. It's hurting. It's hurting really bad.
What kind of plant is that?
I don't know. I saw it. I was with someone, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" So she bought it for me. But yeah, that's all the petals that are left. It had like 9 on there, so it's just very sad.
Maybe that can be your task for this summer. That is your goal that you want to accomplish. It's figure out what's the deal with that plant. It looks kind of orchid-like from here.
Yeah, kind of. Now I also have to say, now does a user manual count if I read the user manual?
I guess so. Yeah, we have kind of variable definitions of what will count as reading. First off, reading a book, sure. Listening to audiobooks, yes. Reading to your kids or having your kids read to you, that counts for all of the people in the room listening to the story. If you are reading for schoolwork or for homework, like a reading assignment, yes. If you're reading like the newspaper very regularly, like reading articles, sure. If you're reading technical stuff for work, sure. Yeah, if you're reading, I guess if you're reading the user manual all the way through, like, go for it.
Look, I'm the stereotypical man. I pulled the electronic out the box and I start to use it, and then I'm like, this thing ain't working right, and I got to go back and read the manual.
I think if it's taking you long enough to read the manual that you think it will count towards your 100 hours of reading for the summer, go for it.
I have some manuals that are ridiculous.
Oh.
And it's like, nah, I'm good. I just can't do it. And it's like, man, this thing isn't working.
One of my goals personally is I tend to not really pay attention to like terms and conditions for things I'm signing up for, which is a terrible habit. Don't do that. But I tend to just skim it and be like, okay, we're good. But there's a lot of meaty stuff in there, especially for like privacy policies and like apps that you download. So one of my goals is just like actually read that stuff. That's like on the do you agree? Yes, here's your account type of thing. And I'm like, that counts. I think that'll count for reading. If I'm spending a good 15, 20 minutes wading through like legalese, I'll learn something, but it's useful.
Yeah, they're massive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anything counts. If you are curious or want to just challenge your local library staff to find something that doesn't count, feel free to ask us for recommendations. We're just really excited to also hear what people are reading or what they're listening to, because it's a good way for us to get recommendations for ourselves. Yeah.
So now, just saying, if audiobooks work, then watching YouTube to learn something should work too, because it's audio and visual, right?
That is one area where we're a little bit like, so because that's a slippery slope into like, I am watching reruns of Friends. Does that count? We're trying to keep it mostly based around the sort of the notion of like hearing, like storytelling. So if you're reading, you're getting a story. Honestly, if you're listening to an audiobook or even listening to like a storytelling podcast, depends on the library staff you ask, but some are more inclined to be like, yeah, that counts, that doesn't count. We don't require you to tell us how you read though. So we'll leave it up to you and trust that, you're participating genuinely.
Well, I'll say to everyone out there, one of the great things about reading is learning new vocabulary words. So I love coming across a new word that I haven't used before, or seeing a word that I've heard, but I've never seen how it was spelled. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I'll try to use it, in a sentence. The next few times I have a conversation, I'm trying to fit it in, to try to fit into my vocabulary. So that's one of the fun things for reading for me.
Yeah. Oh, I love. Whenever I get recommended a book, I try to ask the person, "Did you read it in print or did you listen in audio? And if you did one or either, what would you recommend?"
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember. There was a fantasy novel I had read sometime last year where I listened to it in audio, and it was like beautifully told. But I went to look at the print book afterward, and every single name was spelled differently than I thought in my head when I heard it. I was like, "Whoa, I'm making some assumptions up here." Okay. But it's really cool. It sort of works out a different part of your brain, but very similar parts in terms of like comprehending stories that you're engaging with and character development and that type of thing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And so
yes,
how long is this gonna be going on for?
through the end of August.
The
And
end of
so,
August.
yes, so any time you've spent reading from June 1st all the way through August 31st absolutely counts. And we're going to start giving away prizes in August. If you are going to be gone, like for most of August, or vacations or travel or whatever, ask your library staff if they can get things moving a little earlier, and we can try to work with you on that. But we want to make sure that everyone's got a chance to participate fully and also, not stress about it because we don't want people to feel like they're doing homework. This is supposed to be fun. Yes. And then the last thing I wanted to share, I want to just make sure I got the right times for this, is our summer learning events that are going on. And so let me just pull up our calendar real quick. Performance, yeah, our summer learning performances, and that's all on that krl.org/summer link that you had posted. There are several going on in July. We
Mhm.
have July 13th, there's Gonzango Music and Dance Company. July 21st, the Amazing Magic Show with Jeff Evans. And July 30th, Sunshine from Polynesia. So they're all going to be like musical, movement, active, good for kiddos, good for adults too, good for families. And that will be all on our website. I believe we also have them in our Inspire. Where are we? There we go. Yes, thank you, Marwan.
Mhm.
They'll show up all on our calendar, and they're definitely linked from that krl.org/summer page as well. But those are specific to summer learning. We have these big, multi-branch performances every summer. They're a really, really good time. They're outdoors. It's, space to move around and dance. So would highly recommend if you've got kiddos or if you're just interested in, hearing some live music or a live performance. And they're scattered across the county, so just make sure you check the location when you're looking. The Gonzango group is playing July 13th in Kingston. Magician Jeff Evans is going to be at Sylvan Way in Bremerton. Where else are we? Sunshine from Polynesia will be in Silverdale, and so on and so forth.
Ooh, Shakespeare in the Park on, July 13th.
Ooh.
Way. Interesting.
Sylvan has some really cool events coming up. Yeah. And you don't have to, by the way, you don't have to be like a certain branch devotee. You can go to programs at any branch. We don't require pre-registration unless it is specified in that posting. So you can absolutely, take a trip up to Sylvan to experience that. But yeah.
All right. So we're reading, Priya, and
Mhm.
here in the bottom left-hand corner, how do you pronounce QAQAD?
That's a fantastic question, Marwan.
Is that
I
quad?
That's a pretty good guess. I need to connect with our Manchester staff and see if they can educate me on that.
See, this is why words are awesome, right? Like, I've
Yeah,
never seen
yeah.
that word before. I'm like, okay, what is that one?
I saw online, it was maybe a few months ago or maybe last year or something, someone had posted about taking language learning classes for Lushootseed, like a local native language. And I think that would be a really fantastic thing for a lot of people living here, just because we see a lot of those names in the places that we live. So maybe this is my encouragement for me to go ahead and sign up for that class.
It's just
Yeah.
great for your brain too to learn how to pronounce words, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's just I love that. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of those events that you're looking at are on our website, and they're also in our July Inspire, which is in print at all of our branches, and then on our website as well, same as every month. And
So
you
folks
can go
just
ahead.
drop by and pick up an Inspire, or can they get
Mhm.
Inspires from other locations?
You can
Is
get them
that
from any library location, and we do try to scatter them across the community in different locations as well. Um, For instance, I tend to drop them off like a few places in downtown Bremerton, but also anytime the library is open, we just keep them like on our front desk and our entryway. Like you'll definitely see it if you come in the building.
I'm looking at your newest arrivals, and we've never talked about this
Mm-hmm.
before, but any particular reads here that kinda
Ooh.
pop out at you?
For me personally, or just in general?
Just either way.
Yeah. So this list is curated by our collections and technical services librarians, or CTS librarians. They're called our selectors. They sort of order all of the new books that come into the library, and so they try to have a really good variety of topics, of formats, of subjects, of authors. So something that'll fit everyone's interest. And so accordingly, I'm looking at this list here and I'm seeing like some children's books, nonfiction, like children's chapter books, some fiction novels. So it's going to be something for everyone. I know there are probably some titles that are going to be really, really popular here, like the Iris Johansson novel. That she tends to be a pretty popular one for circulation. Elin Hildebrand as well. I think she's, at least on my branch, she's very heavily checked out. But we try to keep it pretty topical too. So you'll see some things that maybe reflect news stories or that are just, recent bestsellers that we've added to our collection. So that list is updated very, very regularly
Nice.
on our website. Some are in print, some are in ebook as well, some are in audio. So be sure to double check that before you try to check it out.
Good. Absolutely. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that before. I'm like, "Oh, I wanna kinda, call that out." And here you were
Mhm.
saying earlier, you don't need a card, but if you wanted to, you can click here.
Yeah, so you just need a library card if you want to check items out from our collection, either physical print ones, CDs, DVDs, or ebooks, audiobooks. And then a few of our databases, like our online databases, require it. But if you want to just come in the building and use our resources in the building, if you want to attend any programs, if you want to participate in summer learning, that you don't need a card for any of it. It's just if you want to take an item home with you, that's what you need a card for.
Priya, am I seeing that the KRL has an app?
Let me double check. We don't have one just yet, unless something has changed.
That looks like the KRL app. I'm like, "I need that right now."
Oh, not yet. Our website does adapt pretty well to mobile, so that's about the best we can get for right now. But it may or may not be in the works for the future. Any big website changes or app introductions or any big news for KRL in general, you will get an email about if you are a card holder, or it will be splashed across the front of our website. So if there are any big changes coming up for our website or collections or otherwise, we will find a way to let you know before it happens.
Nice, nice. And I see on here,
Yeah.
this is like Bremerton School District Student Library account?
Yes. So that is actually a program we have, not just with Bremerton. So if you click into that, you'll see, yep. So it's Bremerton School District, North Kitsap, and I believe they're working on another district too, to give students who are enrolled in those school districts automatic library card access. So
Nice.
many of them, yeah, it's an awesome program. Many of them already do have cards, like families will just bring kids and sign them up. But this is a way for students to use their school ID number, or most students know it as their lunch number, or their your student number as your library card number. So you don't have to sign up or anything special. You don't have a physical card, but since most students know those numbers by heart, they don't need to write them down anywhere. So it works basically the same as a library card. The only difference is you don't have a physical card. So if you have kiddos who are enrolled in any of those school districts above, and you ask them, like, what's your student ID number? What's your lunch number? Like, they'll probably be able to tell you off the top of their head. And that also is their library card number. So it's a really easy way to encourage students to say, like, hey, it's no trouble to go to the library and access our resources. You already have an account. Super easy. Yeah.
So, one, I encourage kids to go out and touch some grass, but parents, video games are expensive, and I see PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Switch, Wii, and Wii U games. They're
Mm-hmm.
expensive. Kids blow through them really quickly. what an awesome resource for them to come and borrow and run through it and come and get another one. So another consideration there.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's also kind of nice to have a variety, right? So we don't have like a super big video game collection, but it is a pretty sizable one, and it floats around the branches. So if you check out one at downtown Bremerton, you return it to Silverdale, it stays in Silverdale. So that sort of encourages, more browsing. So maybe something that you saw first time you were here is going to be somewhere else in a month, and vice versa. So it's a good way for anyone to explore new video games. Lots of our collections work like that too, but video games especially, I think, are kind of fun because it's like the thrill of finding something new.
Mm-hmm.
And those are good to check out for a week at a time. So would highly encourage if you are looking to explore a new type of game too. For instance, if you're like only puzzle person, but you want to try like a racing game or a sports game or something, this is a good way to test that out because you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, or RTS, which can be fun, but it just depends on which one it is. Uh, as a parent of a gamer, I'll watch Layla download like 4 apps. Like, oh, I
Mhm.
played that for 10 minutes. Now I need another one and another one. It's like, only free
Mhm.
games, sweetie. So that's really a great resource.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a lot going on this summer. It's just sort of a matter of finding time for participating in our events or tracking your reading. So we just want to encourage people if they have any questions or any ideas or need recommendations of things to read or to explore this summer. We're absolutely open to chatting with y'all, or give us a call or send us an email. We're good for it.
Last thing I wanted to kind of talk about was just reminding folks that, they can get testing kits, right? If they need a testing kit or a mask, they can come into their regional library.
Yes, with limitations. So every branch will have masks available. They're not required to be worn in our buildings, but we, would encourage if you choose to wear a mask, we will have them available for you, usually in like the front entryway of your building, of your local branch, and then specifically at downtown Bremerton and I believe Silverdale as well. But maybe call ahead before you ask. We have test kits available. So I know at my branch at downtown, we have them just in our entryway right next to the masks. So
Mhm.
if you choose to, you're welcome to come in, grab it. You don't have to say anything to us. You don't have to tell us how much you took. We will just restock that as we see it being used. But that's a really great partnership with Kitsap Public Health District. So we're really grateful to be able to expand that offering. And it's also handy just to have in case you got travel coming up or family coming to visit. You want to make sure you're taking that extra careful step.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden you walk into a doctor's office like you need a mask, or I've gone into some random places where mask up and it's like, oh, I don't have a mask, so it's like great that way.
If it's
Um,
in like every other jacket pocket except for the one that you're wearing.
yes.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I believe on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the summer food program is going on downtown, right?
Yes. Let me see if I can pull up the specific days for that. We had it just earlier today. Um, I just want to pull up the specific date. Yep. So at the downtown branch, we are hosting every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 a.m. 11:45 to 12, but you're welcome to stay longer if you need to eat. Take a little bit longer time eating. And that is for kids and families. So they're free summer lunches for youth up to age 18. All the ages up to that. Hopefully you'll have your adult with you when you come to visit. But the Bremerton School District just sets up on our front lawn. So you're welcome to just walk up with your family, get a free meal, and they do have to be eaten on site. So we have, like it's spread out if you want to just have a seat and take a little time to enjoy a nice meal under our really lovely tree. I'm really appreciating our tree out front.
Yeah, it's like oasis in the middle of downtown where there's a
Kind
tree
of.
and a little bit of grass. It's really that whole building is really interesting.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a really unique space, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what I'll say is, if you for some reason missed that time from 11:45 to 12, you can walk over to KCR from
Mhm.
12:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. There's food there for the summer food program also. So not
Awesome.
too far away, and I'll kind of just pop that up there really quick so folks have it. Uh,
Yeah, there are a bunch of different locations. I'm trying to find the flyer that I had seen for even just in the downtown Bremerton and the Bremerton area. Um, Bremerton Public Schools is and other community partners who are providing are doing a really great job of just trying to get as many places and times and days as possible during the week. So I'll see if I can find that. Maybe I'll email it to you, Marwan, if you don't have that available.
I've got it somewhere. I just don't have it up now. So
Exactly.
I have our location part of the summer food program this year. So we're the
Yeah.
ones that are at KCR and also at New Horizon Ministries. So
Nice.
12:30 to 3:30 for sure. And then I wanted to tell you because I'm not going to see you this Saturday at 12 p.m. on probably about 12 to 5 or so. We're going to be having a barbecue downtown. So right next to Marvin Williams. Uh,
Cool.
so as folks come in, we just want to really kind of do something special for those that are experiencing homelessness downtown. So we're going to do after the fourth barbecue downtown this Saturday.
Nice. What a cool service.
Yeah, well, we'd like to try to do kind of unique and cool things.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I did drop something off to you. So funny story, Priya. I was gonna drop it off like a week previous, right?
Mhm.
And so I hop in my car and I'm going, and I'm like, all right. I get to the library. The library's closed. I get out my car. I'm like, oh, it's closed. Already kind of weird because I'm getting out with this big, huge broadsword. I get back in my car and I'm driving back home, and I drove past you, right? So we ended up. You were at a corner waiting to cross, and I was waiting. I'm like, I don't want to scare her by saying, "Hey, Priya, I've got this big sword." It's like I don't think that's the time. And she's heading away from work, so just know I chuckled. That went through my mind, but I didn't jump out in the middle of the street with a sword and say, "Hey, here's the sword." So
Thank you for that. Usually being, shouted at from a car is either a very scary thing, like, oh, or a like, hey, you dropped your wallet type of thing, which is like, yes, but I don't know how I would have reacted.
especially if I'm
But
running at you with the sword, right?
yeah. Thank you for that decision, Marwan. I appreciate it. I did receive it at the library. I was on vacation for a little bit and I came back to some really cool stuff, including a sword at my desk.
So I
Yes.
don't have any, information on there. That was my brother's sword, and so now it's mine, and I just don't know any history on it. So
Okay. I did a little bit of searching. First off, something I'd like to ask everyone who comes to the library with some sort of research question: are you comfortable talking about this in public, or would you like to talk more
oh, sure,
private? So, okay,
sure.
cool. All right. So I did a little bit of googling. It's a good place to start. Not the best place, but a good place. But specifically with this, the sword. It's on my desk. I can go grab it if you'd like. But it's got a little phrase across one side. For those who haven't seen it, it is very heavy.
Mm,
It is a heavy sword,
mhm.
but it's not a very sharp sword.
No,
And
like
it's
a
in.
ceremonial sword, right? You
I,
think?
I'm so okay.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, this might be a little disappointing. So I did a little bit of researching. I want to just confirm because I haven't found like a 100% yes, but I do believe it's sort of like an incentive sword that was given out for folks who had donated to a specific church.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
it says there's a phrase emblazoned across the side. It says "covenant partner," which was a very helpful search tool because it's
Hmm.
a quote. So I found some message boards where some folks online years ago had been like, "Hey, I found this sword. It says covenant partners on the side, and it looks exactly the same." And it ended up linking to this gentleman who runs I think, well, I'm actually not sure how well known or promoted this church is, but they do have a television program that used to have some fundraising elements to it. And so apparently, if you donated to this church and their humanitarian programs that they ran, they would send you this sword. So you would be a
Oh,
covenant partner, hence the phrase on the side.
can't wait for you to tell me offline like what church, and it's like okay. So most giveaways are like a pen,
Uh-huh,
5 pound
uh-huh.
drives. Like, hey, here's a 10-pound sword. It's
I
like
mean,
what's the shipping on that?
in terms of incentives, like that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, yeah.
I do need to do a little bit more research just to see, like, I haven't found proof yet, like what specifically you needed to donate or donate to get this. So I got a little bit more digging to do, but The sword itself is really cool. It's got some really cool engravings on it. It from a distance looks kind of like a big medieval thing, but then you look a little
Yeah.
closer and it's like this was made in the last 15 or 20 years probably. But
I
it's
was
really
hoping
rad.
in the Vatican, and it was worth like $2 million.
I'm sorry.
Wah wah.
Yeah, but it makes me feel a little better knowing that like this isn't some like super valuable heirloom like should be in a museum type of thing that's just sitting at my desk at the library. And then the other thing you dropped off an Essence magazine, which I'm trying to be very careful with because some of the pages are a bit brittle. But I know that there are some like magazine databases or archives online, specifically ones that include Essence because it's not like it was a super niche or rare thing. Like Essence is big name in magazines. So I'm just going to try to find a digitized version because usually with historic magazines like that, they'll digitize copies that you can see online just for record, especially because the older a magazine gets, the harder it is to use without it breaking. Um, so I need to hunt down an open access database. That's why I haven't followed up with you yet on that because
Gotcha.
I found a few that have like digitized copies, but they're university archives. So you kind of like, unless we're members of that university, we can't get into it.
Ah.
So I'm going to try to hunt down a few, see if I can find a digitized version that is open to members of the public, and I'll make sure you get your magazine back because it's really cool. I'm nervous about it because the cover's kind of fallen off, and
Yeah, the
yeah.
the front and the back. Could you tell which one I was in there?
Oh, I didn't look that closely.
Oh, yeah, I'm in that magazine.
Oh gosh. Oh, I need to take a closer look,
Yeah,
Marlon.
it's in the middle. So
Okay.
on the front cover, it says "Single Fathers That Adopt," and I was adopted. So they did a story on my father and my family. So
Oh,
we're in the middle. We're
cool.
on a 2-page spread.
Oh, right on.
Maybe you'll be able to tell which one I am in there.
Well, now that I've got a reminder, I'll give it a closer look. And this is sort of more incentive to find a digital version so that if this, it's not in the greatest condition, if this magazine, doesn't hold up, you'll still have some record of it
Mhm.
online that you can refer back to as much as you need to. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, I think after this, I'll probably try to put it in a plastic to try to preserve it as much as I can, and just open it to the page that we're in, where the
Mm,
story is, and just leave it that way. Maybe put the front cover in its own sleeve, and then the middle part, and then the back, and just
yes,
maybe frame it or something.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really appreciative of you for sharing that with me. Um, yeah, it's always nice to have people like think of the library as a place where they can learn more about things that mean something to them that they might have found in their family's home or that meant something from their childhood. I'm very appreciative. I also want, in case people are seeing this, please don't bring your things to the library without letting me know first. So Ramon did it right, where he was like, "I got something. Do you have time to look at it?" And I was like, "Yes, bring it by." But if anyone else is interested in having something looked at in depth, shoot me an email, give me a call, send me some photos, and then because just for liability's sake, I want to make sure that I'm not like I'm taking care of your stuff.
Well, the sword, right? Because the front desk person didn't know. It's a good thing I had a tie on. It's like, hey, I've got this sword. Is
Yeah,
Priya here? Like,
yeah.
no, she's not. No one's
I
here.
will. I will let my if I have advance notice, I'll let my staff know to look out for it.
All
Yes.
right. Well, you know what? Our time goes so fast, but it's always so much fun, and I always learn something new about the library. So today was the new book collection, newest arrivals, which was fantastic, and
Yeah.
of course the calendar of events.
Mhm.
So make sure that you get down to your library. You've got plenty of time to be a part of the summer reading program. As
Mhm.
Priya was saying, awards will start. Prizes will be given away in August.
Yes.
So start reading, get in there. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I honestly, if you haven't like cracked a book open this summer, that's okay because we do a lot of passive reading. Especially adults. Like if you're reading the newspaper, if you're reading articles online, if you're like skimming through headlines and read one article like at least every day, that's a good amount of hours. By the end of the summer, you'll have at least 10 for sure. So just having us be more aware of how much we're reading and really appreciating that and celebrating that is sort of our goal. Yeah.
Absolutely. You want third?
Oh gosh. Well, sure. I'll say, now that we're past the 4th of July, I think that real summer is supposed to start in Washington, I've been told. So I hope you all enjoy some good weather, get outside, get some fresh air, recreate safely, stop by the library. We've got a lot of stuff going on. And if you have something you want to dig deeper into, whether it's a sword you found in your family's house or something you want to learn, like what is this plant behind me that is not thriving in its environment, or can you recommend me something to read? Library is a good place to stop by and explore that stuff, or just to say hello. So,
Absolutely. Definitely touch some grass.
mhm.
All right. Well, for Priyachari, I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. We will see you next month, first Tuesday at 3 p.m. Kitsap Regional Library.